So Sarah was stressed with her workload and she had too much to do. She couldn't manage it. She didn't know how to calm herself down. And it was overwhelming and it was getting on top of her. And I wanted to talk her through a very simple way that you could manage her emotions. Now, before I do that, welcome to another episode of the Self Belief Chief podcast. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Also, you can listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple podcasts as well, where on those channels, you can hear the up-to-date, real-time conversations with people. You can hear live interactions. You can hear the actual conversations themselves. But I just want to recount the conversation because I think it'd be a really useful exercise for you that you can do immediately to help you manage your emotions better. Now, I love people like Dr. Steve Peters, who wrote The Chimp Paradox, for example, and I love the way that he talked about managing emotions, but I want to put a slight twist on that and share what I did with Sarah. So Sarah is stressed at work, she's doing too much, and she can't, get through it all. She doesn't know where to start. So the first thing I did with her was to write down what the trigger was. And she said, well, the trigger is when I think about my workload, I feel stressed, I feel anxious. And then I told her why every human being is terrible at handling emotions, at least at first. We are all fantastically well designed at handling and dealing with one emotion, one problem, one situation at a time. We are abysmal at dealing with 2, 3, 4 things at once. Despite appearances of that trigger being whenever I think of my workload, it makes me feel stressed, it looks like one thing, it's not one thing. And there's actually nothing to deal with there. It's just a cloud. What we need to deal with are the consequences she's worrying about as a result of that trigger. So Sarah says, okay, the consequences I'm worrying about, one would be if I let my colleagues down by not performing well. I'm concerned or frightened by my manager. What if they think I'm rubbish at my job and that has a consequence? Another one being that actually, if I don't improve my organization, how's it going to affect my health and well-being and mental health? So we wrote down about 3 or 4 different consequences that she was worrying about. And then we dealt with each of those one at a time because we have the capacity to do that. And what's great about doing that is when we write something down or say it out loud, then there's a different reprocessing that's going on. And that's what I want to briefly talk you through about. And I want you to listen very carefully because this can change the quality of your life. To simplify the brain, we have a cartoon brain and a human brain. The cartoon brain is towards the back of our head, and its only job is to help us survive. It's not there to, make us happy. It's not you. It's not your personality. It's not your character. It's not you. We all have that same mechanism. So it gets loud, it gets worried, it panics sometimes. And so we have to look at that and understand that's what's going on. But we also have a human brain, which is more solution focused, more about sustainability and consistency, looks for progress in that way. Now, what I get people to do is that cartoon brain, to create some dissociation, is give it a name. So for me, it's Thomas the Tank Engine. All the worries and fears I have, if I think it's me, it feels very threatening. If I think they're coming from Thomas the Tank Engine, which they might as well be because it's coming from a part of the brain that isn't me or my personality, it's a cartoon blue train that blows steam out of his head. It goes around in circles. It's fine. I can better deal with it. I don't beat myself up about it. It's a cartoon blue train. So I'd like you to think of what was your favorite cartoon or toy when you were younger and call that piece of your brain that thing. And each of those consequences or worries about whatever trigger you have, write those down and know it's coming from that cartoon brain, and they're normal, they're natural, they're thoughts and emotions that have been passed down through generations to you. And then write down each of the rational solutions. The reason why you'll find it easier to do that is because once you write down those consequences or worries from your cartoon brain, or if you say them out loud, when you hear yourself saying them back, or when you reread what you've just written, it automatically uses your human brain to reprocess it, which is more solution focused, and it'll come up with better answers. If you just keep all of this stuff internally and keep it inside, you're asking a Thomas the Tank Engine to solve it, who's created the problem in the first place. And Thomas will just go around in circles, or whatever your cartoon brain's called, it will just go around in circles. So you write down the consequences of worries and then you separate them one at a time. And by separating them and getting it out of your system and then reprocessing and reading it back, you'll come up with better solutions, with answers. And all of a sudden you'll have 4 solutions to each of the individual problems that you can action and implement straight away. Now there's a 4th stage in terms of actually how to use all that information to stop you from dwelling, to stop you from overthinking. I won't go through that now. There are plenty of episodes in the podcast on Spotify and Apple where I'm actually doing this exercise with someone and you can hear the real-time conversations. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment in the description. Give a like to this video as well. My name is David Holman. If you change today, today will change your life. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your life. And I'll speak to you again soon.